guys, it's Rick Baxter, Cost Control Software. You know, there's been quite a few new videos out on the internet about the new features in Dynamics NAV 2018. I'm going to put a little different twist on that. I feel that there's still some gaps in Dynamics, sorry to say, in Dynamics NAV 2018, and in this video, bear with me here on the screen, I'm going to show you how to fill at least 9 of the those top gaps that we have found in Dynamics 2018, and show you how easy it is to kind of fix some of these areas. So let's get started right away. On screen you'll see the first one I've got is how to easily navigate to more areas within Dynamics NAV. And that's, I guess I should say, NAV 2018. So the first thing I recommend is that you use the Enterprise Role Center. Now, if you don't have the Enterprise Role Center, simply contact me and we'll help you get that set up. But let me move this out of the way and I'll show you that first feature. Let me just move that like that. Okay, so here we are in the Enterprise Role Center, and the concept of this is for sometimes the smaller businesses need one place to go, one set of menus to move around and get to the information that they need. So I've tried to provide as much information as you would typically use in a day-to-day environment with your nav in one location. And just notice, so on the menu, zoom in a little bit here, is the contacts, the customers, the vendors, the items, the resources, any one of these. So if I click, let's say items, I'll click on the items, it's going to take me directly to my inventory master list. If I click on my contacts, these are the people that I need to call or do business with. This is vendors, items, bankers. It could be all sorts of number of things. Then I have access to creating opportunities, creating interactions, open opportunities, all the things that you would have within your CRM system. Also to your vendors, to your financials. If I click on financials, that's going to take me to certainly my chart of account information. So everything is going to be very quick and easy access with this one role center. Let me show you one other little part to this is the tiles. I think everybody, these tiles become very important to you, and you need to learn how to use the tiles in 2018 as well. For example, here's a simple tile of 43 sales orders, and by just clicking that tile, it's going to take you into those 43 open or released, they could be released sales orders, so that you can go in and edit them as need be. Okay, so same for purchase orders, or maybe ship but not invoices, or sales orders that are delayed based on some alerts, or creating new sales orders, new quotes, okay, whatever you need to do. So this design of this role center right off the bat gets you access to probably, I would say, at least 80% of the things, if maybe even a little higher, quite frankly, of the things that you need to get to on a regular basis as you're starting to use NAV. I think some of the provided role centers are almost too specific. If you get to a role center just for the sales order processor, then suddenly if you're the sales order processor and you may need to get to some of the other areas, then you've got to go out and you use the search bar, or use departments and so forth. I think that's awkward. I think it all should be right here in one place, and that's why we've created here at Cost Control Software this Enterprise Role Center. Okay, so that's the first thing, and this, I'm going to go through basically 9 gaps, and also how we recommend that you fill those gaps with some solutions from Cost Control Software. Let's move to the number 2 gap, is how do I get to my sales history? One of the reasons you buy Dynamics NAV is to be able to access your historical records. And so we wanted to make it easy to get to from your quotes, your sales orders, your invoices, your My Item Master, wherever. Sales history becomes very, very important. Let me show this to you from a couple different locations. So let's go take a look here. I'm going to go to a sales quote. And I've only got one in my sample, but that's okay. It gives you an idea. So here's basically a opening up the sales quote number 1001 to the Canon Group. And if I'm sitting on an item, let's say this Athens desk, then when I've got an option right here on the ribbon says sales history. I click that and it's going to open up a list for me of every customer that I have sold this particular Athens desk. This is the Athens desk. Also shows the price and the quantity that I sold that particular customer. Now I'm noticing this is not the Canon Group. So I'm doing a quote. See over here, I was doing a quote to the Canon Group. They're not showing up on the sales history list. So that tells me that I have not sold the Athens desk to this customer before, but I have sold it to other customers, so it shows that information. Now, if I had sold it to the Canon Group, then this would be a filtered list. I think it's more important to see all of your sales history with that customer for that item. It adds an extra filtering to it. And of course, if you've never sold the item before, then it's going to come up and say you've never sold that particular inventory item. So that's from a quote. Let me show you from same thing. Let's go to inventory. So I'm going to go into my inventory items and let's do the same thing. I'm sitting here on the Athens desk because it's important to be able to get to information quickly, especially from a master file like that. Look, I've got sales history from the item master file. And now I'm seeing the item, this Athens desk, and this would be a list of everyone that we've sold the Athens desk to. So again, it's available from the customers, the vendors. It's we try to put that access. Well, from the vendors it'd be the purchase side, and I want to show you that next. So let's go to number 2, okay, which is the same concept, but I think it's just as important, especially if you're the purchasing agent, is how do I get to my purchase history from a purchase order? Okay, that's kind of the reverse of a sales order. So let's just take a look at that. So if I was going into, let's go back here to the home, and we're going to go to purchase orders, and we'll just let's just open the first one here. Give us an idea of what we've got on screen. So here's opening up a purchase order to Lewis Home Furniture, and I'm going to take this. I've got a side panel in here, basically a purchase order for 4 side panels. And have I ever purchased this item from this customer? So from this vendor. So I'm going to say purchase history, and it's going to show me all the different vendors that I have purchased this item from, but it looks like I've never bought it from Lewis Home Furniture before. I've bought it from these other vendors, and it's going to show the quantities, it's going to show the dates, and one of the things I really like is the ability to hit this button up here called Show Document. So it literally opens up for me the posted purchase invoice of when I bought that item. There's that side panel from this other vendor. So it's very specific and it's quick access to history. That's what so often I hear people complain about, and the reason they switch to Dynamics NAV is the great access that you have to all this historical data and easy access. But just add purchase history. If you don't have that on here, give me a call and I'll show you how to do that. Of course, our databases, when you purchase a database from Cost Control Software, all of this that I'm showing you today comes included with our database. It's called Foundation Pack Database. Okay, so it comes with it. So let's we'll exit out of that, so I'll give you an idea how that works. Let's go take a look at the next item. Again, we're looking at 9 key gaps, okay, some key gaps in Dynamics NAV. Okay, so here's another one. How do I quickly edit a list of customers or vendors or items? Example, maybe I want to change the salesperson assignment on a customer list. Well, you don't want to have to open up one card at a time. You want to be able to go in and quickly edit that list right on screen. You don't want to have to go export it out to some other file, make the change there, import it back in. You want to be able to just go right in and do it. So here's how that is done. So let's just use customers as an example here. Same concept works for many different the items and resources and so forth. Okay, so here's my list of customers. Now you'll notice here's the salesperson code. I've got the salesperson code right next to the name of the customer, and maybe I want to change some of the assignments of what salesperson is assigned to these various customers. Well, with the Foundation Pack database, you get this choice called Quick Edit Customers. So I'm going to click on that. Here it is, and now it's the same customer list, but it's now in an editable format. Okay, when a field goes blue, that means I could edit. So if I need to edit several addresses or several, maybe a zip code or an email address, whatever you want to change, maybe a bunch of credit limits all at once. What did I say? I said the salesperson code. Okay, so I'm going to come in here on New Concept Furniture. It was assigned to PS, Peter Sato. Let's change this to John Roberts. So just that quickly, let's come down to the next customer, and I'm going to change this one to Bart, and I'm going to come down here to Seligorian, and I'm going to change this one to Annette Hill. All right, so I've made 3 quick changes here. I hit OK, and as soon as I hit refresh, now my master list will reflect those changes that I've made. So the concept of this quick edit is it basically takes your customer list and puts it into an editable list. Whereas out of the box, the list is all non-editable, okay? Because you really can't edit the balance. I'm not going to say that you should edit the balance or the quantity on hand. You don't do that. But certainly things like maybe location code or the salesperson code or phone numbers have changed, and you want to do a bulk change, then just throw the list into your quick edit and make the changes there. Very nice little capability. Give that a try. I think you'll like that functionality. Okay, so gap number 5 is how do I get quicker access to useful data on the posted sales invoices? And I'll give you an example here with the history with split screen. So let's take a look at these posted documents, and we'll start with the posted sales invoice. I'll show you one little change that we made to the screen, which I think was a gap, but now it's certainly an improvement. So I'm going to go to posted documents down here on the navigation pane is posted documents. Let this open up on your screen. And here's the change. So the posted sales invoices, I did the same thing with posted purchase invoices. You'll see it also has this split screen. Let me just stay focused on the posted sales invoices. The concept of a split screen lets me see certainly my list. This is my list of all of my invoices, but in this lower window, I can actually see the line items. So as I click through the different posted invoices, I can literally see, let's move down a little bit, I can literally see the line items that I sold to that individual at a glance. Now, the way it is out of the box, you don't have these lower windows. You just have a list of the posted sales invoices. I wanted to be able to see at a glance the line item. You can use certainly the find to find any particular invoice number that you're interested in, bring it up on screen, and then you can see instantly the line items and the total for that order. So again, it's all about visibility to data. I'm all about visibility to the data, and this split screen and the posted, this is in the posted documents, really gives you a very nice view and accessibility to that data. Very nice feature set there. Let's go back to the study guide. Okay, gap number 6. How do I over receive on a purchase order? We have a lot of customers that order large quantities, and when they do, say they order 10,000 pounds of an item, and then they receive in 10,050 pounds. That's okay. In other words, the vendor ships to them a little bit more than what they ordered, or maybe even a little bit less. I think I'll just mention this one here rather than going through the whole example. But in the setup, within the foundation pack setup area, there is a place where you say allow receipt over percent and close PO receipt under percent. So I've got mine set at 5%, so it'll allow up to a 5% overage, okay, on the receipt of that item, and it will close out if it's under 10%. So if you're within 10%, then that PO is basically finished, and we might as well close that out. You can leave these blank, and then it's the exact amount. Okay, but you could put in this tolerance. I think of it as a tolerance for receiving, and then you can receive more or less based on these tolerance percentages for your purchase orders. Okay, nice little capability out of the box. It's exact. It has to be the exact amount, or you got to go back and change the quantity from what you ordered to the exact amount. I think that's a nuisance factor. We should be able to simply put in the quantity that you actually received, as long as it's within this tolerance factor. Okay, so that was a gap, and this is how we fill it. Number 7. How do I quickly see my net available on an item, on an inventory item list? So here is a list of items. Let's go take a look at this in real time. So let's go back to our inventory here. So here's my, I went to vendors, sorry. Here's my items up here. Okay, so I'm on the Athens desk. So I'm sitting on the Athens desk, and I want to call your attention to the right side of the screen where we see the supply and demand of that item. Now the supply is made up of several factors. It's made up of the current quantity on hand. It's made up of maybe a quantity that you've got on purchase orders. You've got some coming in, and you've got some on transit orders as well, 25 on transit, for a total of 379. That's my supply of that item. The demand for that item is, if I had any component lines on production orders, they would show up here. On sales orders, 7, and no service orders, no jobs, no assembly orders. So my total demand is 7, not very much. And so my net available is 372. Now, to me, this would a little bit of a red flag right here, quite frankly, on this item, is I only have a demand of 7, and I've got 254 on hand, and yet I'm ordering even more, and I'm transferring in even more. So why are we doing all that? So this fact box, especially when I see the net available, really shows up very quickly for this item. Let's take a look at another inventory item. Let's go to this one. Let's see if I got some better sample here. I'm going to go up to the bell. Okay. Didn't want to open it. Just a minute. Okay, so this is actually kind of similar environment where you've got on this bell, I've got 152, and that's my total net supply. I do have a little bit of demand, 31, but no other demand of sales orders or jobs or anything else. So my net available is going to be 121. I wanted to see if there was one other that sometimes some of these items really stand out. Yeah, here's a good one. Okay, so here's a rim. Look at on the RIM item, I've got quantity on hand of 400, none on, no other on purchase orders, none on sales orders, components. My net available is 400. That's a big red flag. This should be like, whoa, this is a problem, because with 400 on hand, why did we order 400? There's absolutely no demand. No demand whatsoever for that item. So why do we even have these on hand? So this tells you more than just looking at a list like this. If you just look at the list, that's nice, but it doesn't tell you as much as by glancing here and seeing and trying to maintain a nice balance between your supply and demand. Very, very nice. That information, by the way, is not only on the list, which I like it on the list because it's right there when you first open up your screen. But if I double click the item and open up the item card, we felt that that was so important to have that readily available. We put that same supply and demand fact boxes right here on screen, so that you can see it when you're on the in the editing mode of your inventory master item. I wanted to have that supply and demand fact boxes right there. Very, very handy. Again, we're attempting, as I've said at the beginning all along here, we are filling the gaps in the Dynamics NAV 2018. Not the new features, but some of the gaps that we've identified and how to fill those gaps. Okay, number 8 of 9. Bear with me here. This is gap number 8. How do I receive purchase orders without opening the master PO? Out of the box, you've got to open up the master PO to do your receiving. We felt that the guys on the receiving dock don't really need to get into my master PO. They just need to record the quantity received. So let me show you how we accomplish that. Let's go back to home, and I'm going to go to, let's just go to purchasing. This will be an easy way to do it. So there is a new choice on the purchasing menu, which has all your vendors and POs and blanket orders and so forth. But this is a new choice that brings up a list of the purchase order receiving. So this is basically your list of POs, but now I can basically edit any one of these as items come in. And on this screen, I only have the option to do a quantity to receive. So I simply record the quantity that I am receiving, and then I post it. And in fact, when you do the post, the only thing that you can do is receive. We've made it so that you can't access these other options. Only thing that you can do is a receive step. Okay, so that is, and it just makes it real simple for the guys on the receiving dock to record in the quantity that they've got on these purchase orders. A real quick step, and they're not accessing the master purchase order. Okay, that's number 8, and the last gap, which I've saved the best for last, is number 9 here. I have lots of similar companies. For those of you that have multiple companies, this is going to apply. But they have different customers and different vendors, maybe different inventory items from one company, company A to company B, and so forth. How can I copy a complete company and then clear out the data I don't want to keep? So in other words, I really only want certain key data to be brought forward when I use the copy company command. Now, Dynamics NAV does have a really nice functionality to copy the company. So let me show you that first. Make sure you know how to do that. But then we need to be able to clear out the data out of those companies. So I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So I'm going to come in here to just get you back oriented on the Enterprise Role Center. Let's go to the companies where I have the companies stored. C-O-M-P-A-N-I-E-S, companies. And this is where you have a list of the companies. And so there's this option here to copy a company. So you can copy from company A to company B and create this new company B or C or D, E, F, G as many times as you want. You can copy these companies. Now, I'm not going to actually do that here in this process. It takes about 3 or 4 minutes for it to physically run and process. So I don't want to do that. But I want to stress, when it's copy the company, I mean, it's everything. It literally copies everything intact. Now, if you want to do that for like a sandbox company, that's great. And you can go into the copy of your original customer or original data. I would rename it. You have to rename it because you can't have two companies with the same name. But then you have one company where you can go and experiment. But many of our end users, we find, have multiple companies. In fact, they may have 10 or 20 companies that they need to go into. And you don't want to have to build it all out from scratch every single time. So the best way is to copy the company, use the NAV functionality, which is great. But then you've got to get the data out of that company. So we've created a little routine. In fact, I'm going to move this out of, well, I'll just open it up. And it is from the development side. So you've got to have a developer's license to do this, because we felt, oh my goodness, this is an area where we call it data cleaning. Okay, and let me open this up. And you can see here that what do you want to clean? So we're going to take out the transactions. So we don't want any transactions in this new company. We maybe want to have a fresh set of customers, so you can delete the customers. How about the contacts? Do you want them to come forward or not? When it's copied the company, everything's in there. Delete the vendors, yes or no? Okay, I'll delete the vendors, I'll delete the inventory items, I'm going to delete the resources, I'm going to really start over. I think I will leave the chart of accounts. Basically, the chart of accounts could be the same. That's okay. Maybe I'll leave the bank accounts. Maybe, no, let's delete the employees, fresh set of salespeople, different fixed assets. Maybe the same locations but different jobs. So you kind of pick and choose what you want to delete when you're doing this, especially the transactional data. We definitely want to get rid of all that. But there's many things that you do keep. Terms and conditions. Makes sense. Payment terms, shipping methods, all those kind of functions. Might as well leave all that in there. So we don't delete those. We're really deleting things like the customers or the contacts and the vendors, those key tables. And then you just run the process. Now, I'm not going to show you here how to do that, because it's part of the database. It's certainly in the training materials of that database to actually carry out this cleaning process, and you do have to have strict security to be able to run this process. Okay, so let's go back to our study guide. I want to make a last couple comments here. Where is it? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go back up to the top. So what I've shown you here in the last 30 minutes or so is how to fill the top 9 gaps in Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2018. So I've been showing this all in NAV 2018, the newest release, and there are gaps. There are still gaps in the software. I wish I could say, oh, they handle everything. I've shown you 9 of probably close to 50 gaps that we take care of with the Foundation Pack database from Cost Control Software, your friends at Cost Control Software. So if you would like a more detailed demonstration of this product, I encourage you to contact us, and we would be glad to take you for a little tour of that application. And we think it's a great way for you to start your experience with Dynamics NAV 2018, whether you're using the Windows client or the web client. Either way, this makes for a great experience. I did show this in the Windows client. Works exactly the same in the web client as well. Okay, thanks very much. Please, I'll put up our phone number and then contact us. Thanks so much.